All right, so today we are going deep on gratitude.
Oh, nice.
And, you think of gratitude and you're like, oh, just like, saying thank you.
Hmm.
But there is so much more to it.
Yeah.
And we have all these studies and articles
Right.
and even some Brene Brown wisdom to kind of unpack. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty interesting.
It's fascinating, really is.
Yeah.
Gratitude is one of those things that often gets dismissed as just like fluffy, feel-good stuff.
Yeah.
But when we really look at the science behind it,
Right.
it's deeply connected to our brain function, how we handle stress,
Yeah.
and even how generous we are.
It's like a superpower waiting to be unlocked.
It is.
So less like warm fuzzies and more like mental strength training or something.
That's a great way to put it.
So I want to start off with this study from the Greater Good Science Center.
Okay.
And it was about people who were already in counseling.
Right?
And they were asked to write gratitude letters.
Mhm.
What did they find?
Well, this research is really fascinating because it focused on people who were already facing challenges.
Right.
So it's not to say that gratitude is a cure-all or anything,
Right.
but it really does suggest that it can be an effective tool to help navigate those tough times.
Yeah.
And what they found was the people who wrote these letters expressing thanks to someone in their lives actually reported significantly better mental health outcomes, even months later.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't just a temporary mood boost.
Right.
It seemed to have a lasting impact on how they were feeling.
Yeah, so it's not just like a one-off, like, oh, I feel better today, but like
Exactly.
months later, it's still affecting you. That's pretty amazing.
Really is.
And one of the things I thought was really interesting, too, is that they analyzed the language that was used in these letters.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So tell me about that.
So it wasn't just about filling these letters with like sunshine and rainbows and using a ton of positive words. The key difference they found was actually a decrease in negative words.
Oh,
It seems like gratitude is helping us kind of shift our focus, like almost rewiring our brains to be more sensitive to the good stuff.
It's like instead of dwelling on what's wrong, it's like, switching the spotlight a little bit, and looking at what is good, even if things are hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not about ignoring the bad or pretending everything is perfect,
Right.
but it's about consciously kind of adjusting that spotlight to notice what is going right.
And here's a kicker. They found that you don't even have to send the letter to get the benefit.
I know, that's so wild.
So the act of writing it
Yeah.
is enough to have these changes.
Yeah, just expressing that gratitude, putting it into words,
Right.
seems to shift something internally.
So even if I never intend to send a gratitude letter, just the process of writing it could be beneficial.
It could be, yeah.
Wow. And that makes me think about one of the articles we're looking at by Jamie Jackson Spanhack. And she talks about gratitude being the foundation of joy.
Yeah.
And she quotes Brene Brown,
Right.
who says, "It's not joy that makes us grateful. It's gratitude that makes us joyful."
Yeah, I love that quote because it kind of flips the script on how we usually think about it, right?
Right.
We often think, oh, when I'm happy, then I'll feel grateful.
Right.
But maybe it's actually the other way around.
Whoa, mind blown.
Right.
Okay, so we're not just talking about feelings here. This gratitude thing is actually like affecting our brains.
It is.
And I remember reading about these fMRI studies, both in the Greater Good article and the Psychology Today article.
Yeah, those studies are fascinating.
So explain, what is fMRI and what did they find?
So fMRI is basically a way for scientists to see brain activity in real time.
Okay.
So they can actually look at what's happening in different parts of the brain while people are engaged in certain tasks or having certain thoughts.
Right.
And in these gratitude studies, what they found was that people who were practicing gratitude showed increased activity in a region of the brain called the medial prefrontal cortex.
Okay, for those of us who are not neuroscientists, break that down. Like, what is so special about this medial prefrontal cortex?
So the medial prefrontal cortex is a region of the brain that's really important for a lot of things, including learning, decision-making, and even social behavior.
Okay.
And what's really interesting is that they saw this increased activity months after the gratitude exercises.
What?
Suggesting it's not just a fleeting effect, it's actually changing the way our brain is functioning.
So it's like gratitude is giving our brain a workout.
Yeah.
It's not just a feeling.
It's like building up those positive pathways in the brain.
It's like changing the way our brain functions over time.
Exactly.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It really is.
So it's not just us feeling good, but it also impacts how we interact with other people, right?
Yeah, and that's another really cool thing about gratitude.
There's a really strong link between gratitude and generosity.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to kind of feed off of each other.
And the Psychology Today article talks about that, right?
Yes, exactly.
And it talks about how generosity and gratitude create like a positive feedback loop.
Right.
So tell me about that.
So when we feel grateful, we're more likely to be generous towards others.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we act generously, that often makes us feel even more grateful, and it just kind of creates this upward spiral of positivity.
And they actually did a study with this, right?
They did?
Using stories from Holocaust survivors
Mm-hmm.
to evoke feelings of gratitude.
Yeah.
And they watched what happened in people's brains.
And the results were incredible.
So tell me about it.
They saw activity in areas of the brain associated with reward,
Okay.
moral cognition, and even empathy.
Wow.
And this really suggests that gratitude isn't just about us feeling good. It actually motivates us to be better people.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. It's like this ripple effect. Yeah, it's not just self-centered. It's actually pushing you to be more
Exactly.
giving and compassionate to the people around you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've established gratitude is not just being polite.
Right.
It's like this powerhouse that's rewiring our brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's boosting our happiness.
Yeah.
It's inspiring us to be more kind.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we actually make this a part of our lives?
Yeah.
Because life gets busy.
Right.
You know, you're racing to meet deadlines.
Absolutely.
It's easy to forget about all this gratitude stuff.
It is. It really is easy to let it slip our minds when we're caught up in the day-to-day grind.
So what can we do?
Well, thankfully, Jamie Jackson Spanhack offers some really great suggestions in her blog post for really simple ways to weave gratitude into our day.
Okay, I like it. I'm ready. I want to know what I can do.
Yeah.
Lay it on me. What are some of these gratitude hacks?
So one that she suggests is taking a moment to reflect on an unexpectedly good event that happened during the day. It could be as small as finding a parking spot easily,
Right.
or having a delicious cup of coffee.
Okay, so it's like training yourself to notice the little things.
Yes,
That
exactly.
we kind of take for granted.
Absolutely, those little wins that we often overlook.
Yeah,
But they can really make a difference in how we feel.
I like that. Okay, what else?
Another suggestion is to spend time in nature.
Okay.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
Mhm.
There's something about connecting with the natural world
Yeah,
that just kind of fosters a sense of awe and appreciation.
I can totally see that, whether it's like a walk of the park or just sitting under a tree.
Yeah,
Nature has a way of putting things in perspective.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Her third suggestion is to think about the people you love and appreciate,
Okay.
even if they're not physically present.
Yeah.
It's a really simple but powerful way to cultivate that sense of gratitude for the relationships in your life.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Especially now when, there's so much negativity and division. It's like taking a moment to appreciate the people who make life better.
It's an antidote to all of that noise.
Okay, I like it. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 is to appreciate your possessions. Not in a materialistic way,
Okay.
but in a way that recognizes their value and usefulness in your life.
Yeah, I think that's one that a lot of people probably struggle with,
Mm-hmm.
especially with all the consumerism and you need to buy more, you need to get more.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in that.
But I get what she's saying. It's like
Yeah.
appreciate what you have
Exactly.
and not constantly be looking for what you don't have.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was number 4.
That was number 4.
What's the final one?
The final one is mindful eating.
Oh, I love that.
Slowing down and savoring the flavors,
Yes.
the textures, the aromas of your food.
It's like bringing awareness to that basic need of nourishing your body
Absolutely.
and doing it with intention and gratitude.
Yeah. Appreciating that nourishment.
Okay, so I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive,
We have.
but there's still much more to explore.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to think about how something as simple as gratitude can have such profound impact on our lives.
It really is.
From rewiring our brains
Yeah.
to inspiring generosity, it truly is a superpower,
It is.
waiting to be unleashed.
Absolutely.
So as we head into the next part of our deep dive, I encourage you to try out some of these suggestions.
Yeah. See what resonates with you.
Yeah, experiment, have fun with it,
Yeah. Have fun with it.
and see what happens.
And notice how it makes you feel.
Yeah,
Because the more we cultivate gratitude, the more we unlock its transformative power, both for ourselves and for the world around us.
Welcome back to our deep dive into gratitude.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this.
Me too.
It's pretty fascinating to see how this, seemingly simple practice
Mhm.
can have such a profound impact.
On our well-being. And
Hmm.
even like down to how our brain functions.
It really is.
It makes you wonder, like, where does this gratitude thing even come from?
Hmm.
Like, are we wired for it?
Yeah.
Or is it something we learn along the way?
That's a great question. And I think, honestly, it's a bit of both.
Okay.
There's definitely a nature and nurture component to it.
Okay.
We might have some innate predispositions toward gratitude,
Yeah.
but our experiences and how we choose to interpret them play a huge role.
So it's kind of like we're all born with this potential for gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
but it needs to be nurtured and cultivated, like a
Yes,
muscle that gets stronger the more we use it.
exactly. That's a great analogy.
So that brings us back to that idea of shifting our perspective,
Mm-hmm.
which we talked about in part 1, right?
Right.
About training our minds to focus on what we have
Mm.
rather than dwelling on what we lack.
Absolutely. It's not about denying the negative or pretending that everything's perfect.
Right.
It's about acknowledging both the good and the bad. Yeah.
But choosing to give more weight to
Yeah.
the positive.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because,
Yeah.
some people hear this gratitude stuff and they're like, oh, so I just have to pretend everything's great.
Right.
But it's not about that.
It's not about toxic positivity
Right.
or forcing ourselves to be happy all the time.
Right.
It's about recognizing that even in difficult times, there are still things to be grateful for.
Yeah, it's about finding those glimmers of hope,
Hmm.
those little sparks of joy amidst, the
Absolutely.
darkness. Because let's face it,
Yeah.
life can be messy
They can't.
and challenging.
Yeah.
And pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone.
Exactly. It's about being real with ourselves,
Right.
acknowledging the full spectrum of human experience, both the highs and the lows.
And when we can find gratitude, even in the midst of those challenges,
Mm-mm.
it's like it gives us strength and resilience.
It does. It's like a superpower
Yeah.
that helps us navigate those tough times. So it's interesting because we often think of gratitude as something that comes after something good happens,
Right.
like a reward for good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying is that it can actually be a source of strength
Yeah,
in those challenging times.
absolutely. It's about finding those glimmers of light,
Mm-hmm.
those small things to be thankful for, even when things feel overwhelming.
And I imagine that shift in perspective from focusing on the lack
Mm-hmm.
to focusing on abundance
Yeah,
can have like a ripple effect on other areas of our lives.
absolutely.
It can fuel a sense of hope and optimism.
It does. It's like when we practice gratitude,
Yeah.
we're essentially rewiring our brains to be more attuned to the positive.
Right.
We're training ourselves to notice the good, to expect good things,
Hmm.
and to appreciate the present moment.
It's like that saying, what you focus on expands.
Yes,
So if we
exactly.
focus on gratitude,
Hmm.
we're more likely to attract more things to be grateful for.
Absolutely. It creates this positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
And this isn't just some fluffy feel-good concept. There's actual science backing this up.
Yeah, I'm curious, is there any research on how gratitude affects our physical health?
Hmm.
We've talked a lot about mental, emotional benefits,
Right, right.
but I wonder if there's a connection to our physical well-being as well.
Yeah, there's definitely growing research in this area.
Okay.
And while more studies are needed, some research suggests that gratitude may be linked to things like improved sleep,
Okay.
lower blood pressure, and even a stronger immune system.
Wow. So it's not just good for our minds and hearts, it's good for our bodies too.
It seems that way, yeah. And it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
When we're stressed and negative, our bodies release hormones like cortisol,
Right.
which can have harmful effects over time.
Stress is a killer.
It is, literally.
So when we practice gratitude, we're shifting our physiological state.
Hmm.
We're calming our nervous system, reducing those stress hormones,
Exactly.
and creating a more balanced internal environment.
It's like hitting the reset button on your whole system.
So in a way, gratitude is like a superpower.
It is.
It helps us navigate tough times, boosts our happiness, inspires generosity,
Mhm.
and might even improve our physical health.
And the best part is, it's a superpower we all possess.
Yeah.
It's not something we have to buy or earn.
Right.
It's simply a choice we make.
A choice to focus on the good,
Yes.
appreciate what we have,
Mhm.
and express our thanks.
Absolutely. And the more we practice this choice,
Yeah.
the more natural it becomes.
Mhm.
It becomes a way of being, a lens through which we view the world.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about gratitude?
That's a great question.
Like, what are some of the things that hold people back from embracing this practice?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that gratitude is only for people who have it easy, for those who are already happy and successful.
Right. So,
But the truth is, gratitude is for everyone, regardless of their circumstances.
so it's not about denying your struggles
Right.
or pretending that everything's perfect. It's
Exactly.
about finding those sparks of light in the midst of difficulty.
Absolutely.
What's another misconception?
Another misconception is that gratitude is passive,
Right.
that it's just something that happens to us.
Right.
But in reality, gratitude is an active choice, a conscious decision to focus on the good.
So you have to work at it. You have
Yeah.
to, take ownership.
It's about taking ownership of our perspective,
Yeah.
choosing to see the glass half full.
Even when it feels like it's half empty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, I think some people believe that gratitude is all about feeling good, that it's selfish or self-indulgent.
Right.
But as we've discussed, gratitude is far more than just a feel-good emotion.
It's about recognizing that interconnectedness, appreciating the contributions of others, giving back to the world around us.
Exactly. It's a powerful force that can transform not only our own lives, but also the lives of those we touch.
So as we head into the final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I think, let's challenge ourselves to let go of these misconceptions
Yes.
and embrace this transformative power of gratitude.
Absolutely. Let's explore practical ways to weave this practice into our daily lives
Yeah.
and unlock the incredible benefits that await us.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into gratitude.
Yes, we are.
We've debunked some myths, explored the science, even touched on the link between gratitude and generosity.
It's been a good conversation.
It has. It really has.
Yeah.
But now I want to get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
How do we actually make this a habit?
Yeah.
Not just like a fleeting thought,
Right.
but like a part of our daily routine.
I think that's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
And I think the key is to find practices that resonate with you
Okay.
and that fit into your lifestyle.
So there's no one-size-fits-all.
No, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to gratitude.
Yeah.
It's really about experimenting and finding what works best for you.
So what are some things that people can try?
Sure.
What are some of your favorite gratitude hacks?
Well, one of the most classic practices is gratitude journaling,
Okay.
which is really simple,
Yeah.
but incredibly powerful.
Okay.
So the idea is each day you take a few minutes to write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for.
Okay.
They can be big or small, from a warm shower to a supportive friend to a breathtaking sunset.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah,
And it is pretty amazing how it just like shifts your focus.
it does.
Even if it's a day where I'm feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, just taking a few minutes to be like, okay, what am I grateful for?
Yeah.
It helps to recenter and appreciate the good.
It's like a mental reset button.
It is. It totally is.
And the more you do it, the more you train your brain to look for the positive.
Okay.
It becomes a habit,
It
a
does.
natural way of thinking.
So that's one.
That's one.
What else?
Another one that we talked about earlier is expressing gratitude to others.
Yeah.
Whether it's a simple thank you to the barista who made your coffee,
Right.
or a heartfelt letter to a loved one, expressing our appreciation not only makes them feel good,
Yeah.
but it also boosts our own happiness.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
It can be these little things.
Small, consistent acts of appreciation can go a long way.
Yeah.
It's really just about making that conscious effort
Right. To acknowledge the good.
to acknowledge the good that others bring into our lives.
One that I've been playing with lately that I really like
Oh, yeah.
is what I call like a gratitude walk.
Okay.
So I go for a walk and I'm consciously looking for things that I'm grateful for.
Oh, I love that.
So it could be, the fresh air, the trees swaying in the wind, the sound of birds singing, even just like the feeling of the sun on my skin.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's a great way to combine mindfulness with gratitude.
it is.
It's about being present in the moment
Right.
and appreciating the beauty that surrounds us, even in the most ordinary of places.
And it's like it turns an everyday activity into a gratitude practice.
Exactly.
It's like infusing those little moments with, appreciation
Yeah.
and joy.
Absolutely.
So what are some other ways we can kind of infuse gratitude into our everyday lives?
Well, another really helpful tip is to use visual reminders.
Okay.
So it could be something as simple as a sticky note on your mirror with a gratitude affirmation,
Okay.
or a gratitude jar where you collect little notes of appreciation, or even a screensaver on your phone with a
Wow.
beautiful image that evokes a sense of gratitude.
It's about those little nudges throughout the day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just to remind us to pause and appreciate the good.
What about, like, technology?
Yeah, great
I
point.
know there are a lot of apps and websites out there
There are.
that are all about gratitude.
There are some amazing apps and websites dedicated to gratitude. So there are apps that send you daily gratitude prompts, guided meditations, and even platforms where you can connect with a community of people who are practicing gratitude.
It's like having a gratitude coach
It is.
right in your pocket.
Right there in your pocket.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
What about families?
Oh, that's a great one.
How can we make gratitude more of a family affair?
Absolutely. So whether it's sharing what you're grateful for at the dinner table,
Okay.
creating a family gratitude jar, or even doing a gratitude walk together,
I love that.
involving your loved ones can make the practice more fun and meaningful.
It creates that culture of appreciation.
It does. Within the family.
And it teaches kids
Yeah.
from a young age
Yeah.
the importance of noticing and appreciating the good.
Exactly. And it's never too late to start.
Yeah.
Whether you're a seasoned gratitude practitioner or just beginning to explore this practice, there's always something new to learn and discover.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on gratitude, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Okay?
What if we all made a conscious effort to make gratitude the rule rather than the exception?
I love that.
That's a great question.
Like, imagine a world
Yeah.
where gratitude was the lens through which we viewed our lives, our relationships, our experiences.
Where appreciation and kindness and connection were the norm.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is.
And it all starts with each of us.
It does. It starts with choosing gratitude moment by moment, day by day.
Yeah.
It starts with noticing the good, expressing our appreciation, and letting that gratitude ripple outwards,
Yeah.
transforming our own lives and the world around us.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploring gratitude.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and inspiration
Yes,
to make this powerful practice a more conscious part of your life.
absolutely.
And remember, even small acts of appreciation can make a world of difference.
It really can. So keep those gratitude muscles flexing.
Yes.
And let's all strive to live in a world where gratitude is the rule, not the exception.